بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome back to your show, Ask Eman, the show where it gives you an opportunity and a platform to pick up your phone and call us live here in our studio on 0203 51507 69. That's 0203 51507 69. And for those of you brothers and sisters who prefer to send us your messages, please continue doing so, inshallah, via email or WhatsApp, bi'idhnillah, on the number that you see on your screen, inshallah. And for those of you brothers and sisters who lives overseas and you want to take part on a live show here, inshallah, you can always use our WhatsApp number to call us live here and ask us your question, bi'idhnillah. I'll be your host for the next hour, Mahmoud Yusuf, and with me I have my beloved Shaykh, Wasim Kempson. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hayakum Allah Shaykhana wa bayakum. How are you today, inshallah?
I'm very well, jazakallah khairan.
Alhamdulillah, Shaykh, as usual, inshallah, we'd like to start our show with a beautiful reminders, bi'idhnillah. So that way our brothers and sisters can get their questions ready and we can get all our questions ready for you, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya'i wa sayyid al-mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. All praise belongs to Allah. And may the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon his final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So, I want to mention something which Allah Jalla wa Ala explains in a very detailed and beautiful way to us. That after we read Surah Al-Fatiha in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions Alif Lam Mim after Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. And in the following ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions some of the sifat or the characteristics of the believers, and that they are the muflihun, that they are the successful ones. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in two verses the disbelievers. And this is because the disbelievers are very straight in what they stand for. That they reject the Quran, they reject the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Muslims' position with regards to those people who are explicit in what they stand up for and what they believe is clear. And Allah Azza wa Jalla in many other verses tells us how we believe or how we interact with other people. Then after this, for another 13 or so verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the munafiqeen. And if you compare 5 verses and then 2 verses and then 13 verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes into such detail, not only in this particular part of the Quran, but throughout the Quran. In fact, a whole chapter was revealed, Suratul Munafiqun, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described their traits and their characteristics, so that we as Muslims, number one, know what to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to protect us from. And secondly, for us as Muslims to know that at times we will deal with such people, and that these people are not straight, that their appearance may look like Muslims, their appearance may look as though that they are upon the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but internally is empty. Internally there are no signs of Eman. So it is very important for us to know the characteristics of these people, just as Allah Jalla wa Ala tells us about the status of Shaitan, فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا, that he is an enemy to us, so therefore take him as an enemy. And this is something very clearly mentioned in the Quran in detail. The Prophet ﷺ also told us that the signs of a munafiq are 3. And in another narration, it can be made up to 4. Now, this doesn't mean that a person is out of the fold of Islam, but it means that the person has traits, has ways of the munafiqeen, of those who pretend to be Muslims. And they are the people who are إِذَا اؤْتُمِنَ خَانٍ, that they are entrusted with something, that they will cheat and they will deceive. With a wa'ad akhlaf, and that they promise, that they will break those promises. And also when they become angry, that they will swear and that they will curse and that they will cuss. These are just some of the traits of the munafiqeen that we ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to protect us from. Because maybe that there are those individuals who are not even aware that they have these traits, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken them down a path because they are deserving of that, and then they have these traits and are not aware of it. So we ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to protect us from nifaq, from hypocrisy. Allahumma ameen.
Ameen. Barakallahu feek, Shaykhana, for the beautiful reminder. May Allah reward you, Shaykhana. So we're going to start with our first question via WhatsApp. We'll start with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Do we have to raise our hand every time we perform or make dua?
So it's not an obligation for you to raise your hands when you make dua. However, we do know that there are adab, that there are good manners that we should have, when making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember, you're calling upon your Lord and you are quite possibly asking for something. So therefore, if you put it on a human level, first and foremost, and then we can give it some perspective, that if you are asking somebody, a human being, for something, that there is a way of you asking if you expect a response or positive response. Even more so, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is deserving that you have a good manner with Allah Jalla wa ala. You praise Him, you thank Him, you send your salutations upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also the Prophet ﷺ told us that if a servant raises their hands in dua, that Allah Jalla wa ala is shy that He would reject the supplication of his or her servant. So it does not matter, do I have to do it? Do you want your dua to be answered? What gives you the best opportunity for your dua to be answered? Does raising your hands give you a better chance? Then we can say yes, inshaAllah ta'ala. So it's not a must. It's like, do you think you have to, or do you think you should anyway?
طيب بارك الله فيك شيخنا. This will lead into another question that we have, which is similar. Assalamu alaikum. Shaykh, I want to ask, how many times is it compulsory to raise your hands in salah?
So the first one at the beginning of your salah, or the ulama are agreed upon, is called takbiratul ihram, the raising of the hands at the beginning of the salah. The other raising of the hands in the salah, according to some of the ulama, it is a sunnah to do, something recommended for you to do. Just before ruku', after ruku', and after you come up from the second rak'ah, so there's 3 other times. Other ulama do not see this as a sunnah, and both opinions are respected. But what they all agreed upon is that you do raise your hands at the beginning of the salah. Wallahu a'lam.
Barakallahu fiqh. Shaykh, the next question we have again starts with Assalamu alaikum from WhatsApp again. It's in regards to a pregnancy and fasting, Shaykh. And the question goes, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Shaykh, if I was pregnant in the month of Ramadan and I paid fidya because I was pregnant, then later on I've been informed that as a pregnant woman I should not be paying fidya, but I should be making up the fast. Which opinion is correct?
So the most correct opinion and valid opinion is that if a woman does not fast due to her pregnancy, then she just simply makes the days up in the future. If she was told you just pay for the days that you missed and you don't have to fast those days, now knowledge comes to you that because the obligation was actually upon you, it doesn't remove the obligation that you didn't, not performing those days. Therefore, we say that those days now are in your account and you have to, inshallah ta'ala, make up those days when you're able to do so. And the money that you gave, inshallah, is a form of charity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept and reward.
It's not considered as fidya though, is it?
No, it's a form of,
at the time that she
no, it's not. It wasn't a fidya. It wasn't the correct thing to do.
Right.
It's not correct. We can count it as a charity for you, inshallah ta'ala.
Okay. Khair, inshallah. Barakallahu feek, Shaykh. The next question we have, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Is it permissible to have photography in the house?
If you're talking about putting pictures up in the house,
let's say, for example, your own children. So that will, a lot of people probably heard this question so many times, but let's say, for example, parents want to have photos of their children in the house.
Yeah, you should refrain from putting any pictures or photographs of any person, even if it's close members of the family, in your home. The issue of taking pictures is, by and large, the majority of ulama say it's permissible for you to take those pictures, but you shouldn't hang them up in your homes. This is definitely an issue. You shouldn't do that, wallahu a'lam.
Tayyib, what about for those who argue and say we don't put it in a room where we actually perform our salat?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want people to argue. I'll just simply say that you don't put pictures up in any room. It's not necessarily to do with what room you pray in, but placing up pictures within the home, wherever they are, is something which you should not do. Wallahu ta'ala.
Barakallahu feek, Shaykh. And next question we have, what's up again? It starts with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I have 2 questions. First question, is it permissible to celebrate children's birthday in a simple manner?
Well, whether a birthday is done in a simple or complicated manner, the issue of celebrating birthday is the issue. There's lots of discussion concerning this, to be honest with you, especially in the day and age where more and more people are doing it, and if I can say, quote unquote, normalizing it, to say as though it's there's no harm in it and things like that. The Prophet ﷺ, if we go back to a starting point within Islam about celebrations and whatnot and Eids, then we have 2 in Islam, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. And these are the types of yearly celebrations that reoccur at the same time each year. There are no other celebrations in Islam concerning this issue. I say it's probably best for you to avoid these issues, and Allah knows best.
See, my concern is when someone says to you in a simple manner, what is simple manner of celebrating a birthday? It's like making breakfast for the child, or making breakfast for your partner. What is simple manner?
This is the point. It's not again. It's not a matter of a point being simple or just overdoing it. It's the matter that you're doing it.
Right.
Okay. Because where do you draw in the line?
Sah.
Whether it's simple or not. So that's why I answer the question on the basis that if you're going to do it, you do it, regardless of how you do it. So therefore, we say it's better for you to avoid these things.
Barakallahu feek. The second question to that is about children listen to nursery rhymes. Is it permissible?
Yeah. You know, with nursery rhymes, if they have nice meanings, good meanings, you know, the wheels on the bus go round and round and things like that, la haraj, not a problem, inshallah ta'ala, you know.
Educational.
Educational is not a problem, things like this. You know, sometimes Muslims, I'm not going to teach my children, these kind of, these rhymes and things like that. Why? Why are you not going to teach them? If they don't have a bad meaning,
right.
They're children, let them enjoy little, sing little songs and things like that, no problem, inshallah ta'ala. But again, it's not a replacement for also very important things like, small du'as, small verses of Quran. You can do both, inshallah.
Barakallahu feek. Join us after our break for more Ask Eman. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome back to your show, Ask Eman. The show gives you an opportunity and platform, inshallah, to pick up your phone and call us live here in the studio on 0203 515 0769. That's 0203 515 0769. Forgot to remind you for the first segment that we are live streaming on YouTube, inshallah. So if you do have any question, drop it down below, inshallah. We get it here live. Bi-idhnillah, we can ask your question on your behalf, inshallah. طب شيخنا, we're going to go to the next question that we have. It starts with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is it permissible for boys and girls to be friends in Islam?
Boys and girls?
No.
Okay, if you're talking about, below the age of puberty, then these issues, if they're young, then it's not a problem. Once they reach the age of puberty, then the guidance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us in the Quran, and likewise in the Sunnah, is that there needs to be respecting of both adults, and that they will not maybe interact like friends and things like that. Does it mean they're enemies? Of course it doesn't mean they're enemies. I mean, it's very a question that really needs more than like a minute to answer because the person feels, oh, what kind of religion is this that you can't be friends with people?
No.
This is not what it's about. If you want to talk about how the sexes have interaction with one another, men and women, then we need to have a lecture on that.
Sure.
Okay, so it's important for you to understand the context and how I'm giving the answer, inshallah. If you're talking about young kids, then it's not a problem, inshallah ta'ala.
Because I remember when I was growing up, I used to hear this a lot when people were always questioning why in Islam we're not allowed to be friends and all sorts. But obviously at that time I couldn't answer it personally because I couldn't figure it out myself.
Yeah. Okay, can we just chat on that, please?
Go ahead.
Right. So when we start isolating certain evidences, and I've mentioned this before, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about lowering the gaze in Surah Al-Ahzab for the believing men and for the believing women. Or we have a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said that no man and woman should sit alone except that the shaitan will be the third of those two. Also we have a hadith about preserving chastity and the woman wearing hijab, okay, and the men dressing appropriately. Now once we bring all of these things together, these evidence together, you have to understand that different societies work by different ideals. Okay, now in Islam there are certain ideals which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to uphold within a community.
Sure.
That there are certain parameters in how we deal with one another, how we will speak with one another. Other than that, you're free to do what you like. But there are certain things which are there to protect us.
Right.
So when we isolate a hadith, for example, that our women wear hijab because it's there to protect them from men, and then a person will say, well, can't men control themselves? Can't men just be people to control their desire and just stop looking at people and stop looking at women in that kind of way, in a desirous way? Don't do that. Just control yourself. Which in an ideal world, people should be able to control themselves. But the reality is that people can't.
Sure.
Okay? So therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us guidance in Quran, we find in the Sunnah as well. This is the guidelines that we should follow. A society in general who adheres to that, you will find that levels of fornication, levels of illegitimate children will be very low. Okay, they will be very low. Societies that don't adhere or don't have these ideals in their communities, for example, marriage is not a big issue. Women can or men can dress as they behave. Of course, they're not naked. That's against the law.
Right.
But Islamic ideals, if you like or not, then you will find fornication is prevalent, and then you'll find illegitimate children are prevalent. When I say illegitimate, it's born out of wedlock, okay, which is in certain societies not a crime.
Sure.
Okay, other societies may view it differently. But then, and what comes and follows from this is if there's, fatherless families, then crime is going up and all sorts of things happen. Okay, so when we look at it this way, it all stems from certain things. Okay, and in Islam we have these things because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us to fall into such what we deem as corruption in terms of society.
Sure.
On a social level. Okay, people having how we will interact with one another. Therefore we know the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that we find in the Quran and Sunnah, is always the best. Is there to protect us from not falling into things which does not honor us and which does not protect us.
Sure.
So a question, can boys and girls be friends? And we say, no, they can't. Okay, I mean, it's not fair to answer it like that, but it's important to put it into context with a backdrop of what we're talking about.
Sure.
And Allah knows best.
Barakallahu feek, Shaykh, for elaborating on that. طيب, inshallah, we're going to take our first caller. Let's take the callers, inshallah, brothers. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Eman.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I just want to ask the Shaykh quickly. Say Salah time comes in and you come on your menses. Should a sister make up that Salah after her menses is finished?
طيب, Barakallahu feek. Do you have any other questions?
No, that's it. Jazakallah khair.
Barakallahu feek.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good question. So if a sister, the time for Salat al-Dhuhr came in, she didn't pray, and then the menses started. When she starts praying again, she would pray that Dhuhr, quite simply. She would make up that prayer that she did not pray. Due to her menses, she couldn't pray, so she makes that Salah up. Wallahu a'lam.
The Salah that she started?
That she didn't pray in that time.
Also, if she hasn't prayed for the week, she has to make up for the week, right?
No. So for example, that the adhan for Salat al-Dhuhr, she's praying, okay? And then the adhan for Salat al-Dhuhr goes at 1 o'clock. And then at 2:30, up until 2:30, she hasn't prayed al-Dhuhr. Then her menses starts. Right. That Dhuhr prayer that she didn't pray, when she starts praying again, she prays it.
Okay. I thought that was a new fatwa. She has to make up for the week. Like, that's a new one. طيب, khair, inshallah. Barakallahu feek, Shaykh. The next question we have, what's up again? Assalamu alaikum. Just want to know, is it okay to work in a supermarket which sells alcohol, obviously not serving it but scanning it?
Right, so if you are working in a supermarket, the supermarket is a very vast and big business which has different departments in which you can work in. I would say always in general, you can work for a supermarket. Okay, in general, you can work for a supermarket. If you can work in a department where you're not coming into any contact with any of issues which may be deemed a grey area or something which is haram, then that's always better. If you're dealing in a clothes department, if you're dealing in, I don't know, like a fruit and veg department, if you're dealing in maybe dry goods, biscuits and sweets and things like that, in general, okay, that's permissible for you to work in those departments, absolutely fine. Maybe if you could choose those departments, maybe that's better for you to do that. If, however, that you are not, you're working as a cashier, and you are not directly selling the item, you're not, because you're not one who owns the business. And there are fatwa that are given. It's not my own personal view. This is the fatwa that have been given by the mashayikh. That and even that, because that would represent a very small percent of what you're doing. If you happen to be on a cashier, then it's permissible for you to do that. However, you can find alternative, then that's better for you.
I got another question. I probably did ask you this before, but just popped in there because of the question of jobs wise. Now we know, for example, a lot of brothers who, well, nowadays brothers and sisters who do like private hire jobs.
Yeah.
Now, surely between you, when you don't know who you're gonna pick up, obviously, and all of a sudden you're either gonna end up with a female, and you only, which is a male or female, or if a sister's actually driving, it's only gonna be a male sitting with her. Now,
what, sisters doing private hire, like in terms of
yeah,
really?
It's everywhere now. Yeah.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah. So this is happening. So obviously the rules, we know that, just like you mentioned earlier on, that the Prophet ﷺ said that between a man and a woman there's always a shaitan in the middle. Now we know this is when it comes to sitting together, when you're actually arranging to sit down together. But when you're actually doing the job, you're not arranging who to pick up, who not to pick up.
Yeah.
You just turn up to pick up, you don't know who you're going to pick up.
Yeah.
Now I want to know, inshallah, Shaykhana, a ruling on regards to the male and the female.
Yeah, so when you have issues like, or jobs like this, I will say, fear Allah as much as you can. Okay, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as you can. That if there are particular times or places that you are more likely to find, people, it's like, being a taxi, right? Or that's what we're talking about, isn't it? In the different forms that it has.
No.
If there are times and places that you think, I'm less likely to going to be picking up somebody who is with seclusion, or I'm going to go to a club or a pub and things like that, then tries to train them. Fear Allah as much as you can concerning that. Being a taxi driver, in principle, is fine.
No.
Being a taxi driver, in principle, is fine. It's the first I've heard that sisters do that job, though, subhanAllah.
Yeah, it's all over. It's all over now.
Sisters,
so literally,
sisters are taxi
scarf,
drivers.
with scarf, yeah, they just turn up to your address that you need them to pick up and they just pick you up.
Wow, subhanAllah. I mean,
So my concern is obviously, for me, it's the safety, number one. Number two, the ruling in Islamically, I just want to know, because obviously if you're picking up like 3 gentlemen waiting for you to be picked up, that's 3 men against you just sitting there.
Yeah, that wouldn't be seclusion, by the way.
No, okay.
That wouldn't be, if there's more than
one,
two of you in a class, 3 of you, that wouldn't be considered
okay,
seclusion. So that's removed. But I don't know. Maybe especially with a sister who's being a taxi driver, as it were, and if there are issues with her doing that job, then personally they might want to look at that. Similarly for the brother, if there's security issues or safety issues, that's the word, safety issues, not security, safety issues, then similarly, look at again where you're doing the job, the timing that you're doing the job, and if you have the opportunity to see whom that you're going to pick up, then again, fear Allah as much as you can.
Barakallah fi Shaykhana, may Allah reward you. Brothers and sisters, I know some of you are waiting to be heard or to ask a question, inshallah. Please remember to join us after that break, inshallah. We are aware of it, but because of the question that we have sometimes in the nature of the show, that we might have to elaborate more of the answers that we give, inshallah. So please be patient, inshallah, and stay on the line, inshallah. So after that break, we'll be able to take your call, bi'idhnillah. So, brothers and sisters, join us after that break. From me and the Shaykh for now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome back to your show, Ask Eman. The show gives you the opportunity and a platform, inshallah, to pick up your phone and call us live here in our studio by calling us on 0203-515-0769. That's 0203-515-0769, inshallah. So, Shaykhana, before we ask any more further questions via WhatsApp, we have callers that we've been keeping on hold for a while. That's it, the callers, inshallah, we apologize. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Ask Eman.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Sorry, sister, forgive us for keeping you waiting for that long.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead, what's your question for us, inshallah, today?
Shaykh just said you can't pay fidya for pregnancy. What if you had several children a long time ago and were told to pay fidya and now you don't remember how many days you've missed?
Sheikh, he said you have to pay. He said you don't have to pay.
He said for pregnancy you need to make up the days.
Yes.
But what if you don't remember how many days you missed that
Right.
long time ago?
Okay, that's fine. Do you have any other question?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Barakallahu fiki. طب شيخنا, if you don't remember many years ago how many days you need to make up, so what do you do next?
So in a situation where you can't remember the exact number, then what is upon you is just to do your best to come to the closest number that you think it is.
Yeah.
And then work on that number. Okay,
Or-
simple as.
Or the other one, I remember you said this before as well. I remember giving that advice, and you said just do Mondays and Thursdays as much as you can, because from one side you get an ajr anyways. From two, you can make up for the loss that you've actually.
Yeah, but I'm just in terms of the number, the amount of days. How many do I need to make up? I can't remember. Let's say it's 60 days.
Uh-huh.
And then those 60 days, yeah, you can do on a Monday and a Thursday, no problem,
No.
inshallah ta'ala. But the actual amount, I can't remember how many exactly. You just do your best. And you come with a number which you think is that's what I think the
Closest
number
to
is.
it, yeah.
You use that number and you base it upon that, inshallah ta'ala.
Barakallahu feek. Let's take our callers, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Eman. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
You are live on Ask Eman, sister. What's your question?
So I've got one more question. Can you please ask the Sheikh if it's permissible to buy halal meat? Buy halal meat at a place that also sells alcohol?
Okay.
Like a restaurant?
No, like a butcher. There's some butchers that's my local area that also sell alcohol.
And they are butchers that is just halal butchers, are they?
Yeah, halal butchers. But at the counter till at the back, they see alcohol that they do sell.
Interesting. Okay, I've never come across that before, so that's interesting. Barakallahu feek. Do you have any other question?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Jazakallahu khayran. طيب, first I thought she's saying, can you buy halal meat from a halal butcher? So like, no, but so in this instance, which I've never come across, halal butcher which sells alcohol on behind the counter.
Yeah, so what I would say is that we live in a time now where there are lots of, well, it depends where you're living. There are lots of places where you can buy halal meat, alhamdulillah. If you have an option where you can buy halal meat, where that Muslim is not selling any haram, then it is better for you to go to them. Okay, if a person has a butcher shop and they don't sell any haram in there, it is better for you to purchase from them. If, however, you don't have any other option, it is allowed for you to buy that halal meat. Okay, even though that person may be selling some other haram product, but what you are buying by itself is permissible for you to do that. But that Muslim should be advised that they should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That can be done in different ways. I'm not expecting you to go into the butchers and you say to them, fear Allah, that you're not allowed to sell alcohol. He might say to you, don't come back to my shop.
Yeah.
So there's different ways of advising people. But in essence, it's permissible for you to buy that halal meat. The transaction is valid. Allahu Akbar.
Jazakallah khair. We've got more questions by WhatsApp, inshallah. Shaykhana. So the next one we got, Assalamu alaikum. Is it permissible to hold the Quran without a wudu?
So the Mus'haf, which is entirely the Arabic text, then you should be in the state of wudu. You should not hold the Mus'haf except that you are in a state of wudu. Allahu A'lam.
Barakallahu feek. Shaykhana, this is a question in regards to a beard. It says, Assalamu alaikum. My friend's mum does not want him to have a beard. She says that your beard will grow white eventually and you're not married yet, so you should not have a beard until you get married. What should he do in this situation?
Okay, so especially when giving advice, when the relationship between the two is the mother and the son or the mother and the daughter, I have to be very careful about how I advise. I wouldn't want to advise somebody with something which leads to a greater mafsada, a greater harm, and then it strains the relationship between the mother and her son. But in general, as an answer, I would say that growing the beard is an obligation, and if you're of age, then you should let your beard grow. You're not allowed to shave it.
No.
And the understanding of not having a beard, I mean, shaving your beard, and when you get married then you can have a beard, that somehow there is beauty in shaving, that you can find the woman of your dreams being, shaven, and then when you get married and then you start growing your beard, and maybe she has problems with you growing your beard because I married you, you shave and now you're growing your beard, so you kind of set yourself up in the wrong way. So I would explain to your mother in the very best way, the kindest way, to say that the growing the beard is following the Prophet ﷺ, and nobody would go against that. Following the Prophet ﷺ is the wish and desire of every single Muslim. And the Prophet ﷺ commanded the men to grow their beards, to leave their beards. So this is what you want to do, and you make dua for your mother that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens her heart on this issue, but don't forget to speak to her in the very best way, the nicest way, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best.
طيب بارك الله فيك شيخنا. We have a question which you've already answered شيخنا, but this is another question from a different person, just in case they are sitting there watching the show and wanted this question to be asked, maybe because they didn't get the other one. Says, Assalamu alaikum, what is the ruling on a Muslim working in a supermarket where he or she needs to swipe an alcohol or pork? And at least this will lead into the next question. Also, if she works and makes food that contains pork, is she allowed to cook them or make them? So it's two questions.
Yes, it's two questions. So we said earlier, working as a cashier is permissible for you, but it's preferable if you can work in a department that you're not going to touch or scan any of these items. The other question is, are you allowed to eat pork? No.
No, it's not. No.
You're not allowed to eat pork.
No, that's not if you're allowed to eat it or not. It's if you are making food. So if you are making food, you're either making it or cooking it.
Okay, yeah.
But making and cooking it, I think.
You should try to find alternative. If you're a chef or a cook, something like that, and you're cooking haram like that, making it for people, then I would say that you really should try to find alternative employment. There's many fatwa saying that you shouldn't do that.
طيب بارك الله فيك شيخنا. This question, I've seen it all over social media, but I never understood it. So this is a chance for me to know now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Shaykh Wasim. So this is some person actually watching it. Is it halal to sell 50 pence coin for a higher price?
Okay, yeah.
Elaborate, because I've seen this so many times, but never understood how.
Okay, so at once upon a time, people used to buy and sell things with gold and silver, and it had a value.
Right.
And with these transactions, it's important that if you're going to exchange money for money, it has to be like for like. You can't increasing would be riba.
Right.
Okay. Now, obviously, things aren't based upon gold and silver anymore. These coins and these notes have independent values. So 50 pence is 50 pence. You can't sell 50 pence for any more than that. Okay, you're not allowed to do that. This is riba. So 50 pence, it can only be exchanged for 50 pence. That's it.
But why would someone want to buy 50 pence for more than what it's worth?
What you find is that the Royal Mint, which is the place in this country where they print money, they make money. In a sense that they print the notes and they make the coins. That's where they do it in this country. It's called the Royal Mint. In these places, there are times where they print or make certain coins because of a particular time, or they put a particular stamp on it, which is a collector's item.
Right.
And it still has monetary value like anything else.
Sure.
But because they're selling it for a higher price, this is something that you're not allowed to do, because it's 50p is 50p, or £5 or £10 is £10, £5 is £5. So that's not permissible.
I remember the £5 now that you said it, yes, because I remember the sequence that it was actually coming on. So they said if anything was 000 is worth God knows how many hundreds.
Yeah, it's like the first editions of a particular note is like 0000001, and then somebody that wants to sell that £5 note or £10 note.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually the £20 note will come out, the plastic one here in the UK, and people are going to be looking around for particular notes that has a particular number.
Right.
And then you want to sell that £20 note for, I'm going to sell it for 100. You can't do that. It's haram.
It's not. Okay. Khair. Barakallahu feek. Shaykhana, we got a question we got a caller. Let's say this caller, inshallah, brothers. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Eman.
Shaykh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. I got it.
I got a question about this, that my son and daughter-in-law, they wanted to do Umrah, and we paid for their all expenses, and then now they want us to pay back. They said that we'll pay you back. I said, no, it's okay anyway. But they want to pay me back, but as a parent, I don't want to take the money back. So is the Umrah valid, or what do you...
Okay, khair inshallah. We'll get the answer for you after the break, sister. So join us after the break, brothers and sisters, to hear the answer, bi'idhnillah. It's in regards to lending money for someone actually goes to Umrah. So we, Shaykh, inshallah, will be able to answer it for you, bi'idhnillah. So brothers and sisters, please remember to join us after the break on, and you can call us in Australia on 0203-515-0769. For me and Shaykh for now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome back to your show, Ask Eman. The show where it gives you the opportunity and the platform to pick up your phone and call us live in our studio on 0203-515-0769. And if you would prefer to send us your messages, you can do so inshallah via email or WhatsApp. All the details you need to know is right here on the left hand side of your screen. Bismillah. Brothers and sisters, I'd just like to remind you this is the last segment inshallah. So if you do have any question, this is your chance to pick up your phone and call us. Bismillah. So Shaykh, before the ad break, although we didn't quite understand the question, but I think I've gathered what the question is all about. And that's in regards to, the sister was saying, if I paid for someone's Umrah package and they went to perform Umrah, and when they got back, they said, we want to give you the money back, and she's refusing to take the money back.
Yeah.
Now she wants to know, is the Umrah valid, although I have not taken the money?
Yeah, Bismillah. So the Umrah without a doubt is valid, Alhamdulillah. And you done a beautiful thing in allowing some people to perform Umrah. And if it was a gift for somebody, then alhamdulillah the person should accept that.
Sure.
Say jazakumullahu khairah, make dua for them, and maybe return the goodness that they done to you with something else.
So.
But if the person says I don't want nothing back for it, it can maybe come across maybe as you're insulting them, that you're forcing that you give the money back to them.
Agree.
So if they are insistent that I don't want anything back, then say, khalas, may Allah reward you, bless you, give you all good. And really you should leave it there. I understand that some people, you want to give something back to them, but the person did it out of the goodness of their heart. May Allah bless the sister. So yeah, maybe it's just best to leave it like that. Allah knows best.
If an individual did it as obviously with the right intention of getting the ajr, so obviously we know that if the person performs Umrah, it's equivalent as you have performed Umrah, correct? I know.
Say it again.
If I paid for someone to go perform Umrah, do I get the same ajr as that person actually perform Umrah?
Wallahi, who knows? Okay. I mean, the reward is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but no doubt you'll be rewarded immensely for doing that, subhanallah.
No. And if this person insisted to give you and you accepted it, do you get the reward as if...
Yeah, bi'ithnillah, you're based upon your original intention. It wouldn't cancel, inshallah ta'ala, the reward that you get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because your original intention was not to give the money for you to eventually get it back.
No.
But the person afterwards insisted that they give it back to you, and then if you accepted it, then it wouldn't remove the reward, inshallah ta'ala.
Barakallahu fi Shaykhana. The next question we have starts with Assalamu alaikum. Is it permissible to eat pork flavored chips or crisps?
Okay, let's say hypothetically that the person eats these chips, crisps, because we know pork is haram in Islam, and then gets a taste for it, and then says, you know what, maybe this isn't for everybody, this may not happen to everybody, therefore which potentially could lead to haram, maybe it's better for you to just stay away from it.
No.
In of it itself, no, maybe it is not haram.
Right.
Because you're not eating a substance which is haram. But something, that is like this, that may encourage a person maybe to take things further. Probably maybe it's best. You got so many other flavors. Subhanallah.
Yeah, now it's ridiculous, isn't it?
You can purchase, but as they say, كل ممنوع مرغوب فيه.
That's true.
And everything that is prohibited, you find that you've got desire for it. So.
And if they start making like sweets, alcohol flavored sweets, I think everyone will say, I want to try it too. For those people who never tried alcohol. Because this is what it is. Because we don't know what pork tastes like.
Yeah.
We want to know what pork tastes like in a halal way.
It's not necessarily, take it from me. I embrace Islam. You're not missing much. You're not missing much, alhamdulillah.
For the pork flavor?
Whatever pork you've eaten for, may Allah forgive me. It was when I was a non-Muslim. As Muslims who are tempted, you're not missing very much, believe me. And it's not necessarily the taste; it's what is in the pork that is najas.
No.
Okay, it's something which is impure, and Allah Azza wa Jalla has told us that it is impure. So benefit from so many other different flavors, mashallah.
Go for that.
Yeah.
Go for that. طيب خير إن شاء الله. Barakallahu fi Shaykhana. We have a question here in regards to car rental. Now, it starts with Assalamu alaikum Shaykh. If a brother is renting his car to me with a reasonable price which me and him agree to, if he's making a lot of profit from it, is it sinful for making so much profit than with the original intended?
No. If person A has a car and he rents it to person B, he says, you can have my car on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
and you give me £200 for the rental of the car. Therefore, the person who's renting the car has well, it depends on that. Of course, he's going to make it clear what he's using it for. Then whatever profit he makes from it, if that's the agreement, you see, let's say for example he says, I'm going to use it for taxi. He says, okay, I know what you're using it for. The profit is his, the one he's paying the rent, and whatever profit he's making is his. He shouldn't feel bad about that.
No.
Okay. He's working in a halal manner. May Allah bless him.
طيب بارك الله فيك شيخنا. And this question is in regards to Umrah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If I travel to perform Umrah and I missed the miqat, but from the hotel I've renewed my intention of performing Umrah, is that correct?
Jayyid. I'm glad you asked me this question. This question was asked a few days ago. With regards to if a person who passes the miqat without performing or entering the state of ihram. Entering the state of ihram from the miqat is a wajib, and if a person doesn't fulfill this wajib, then what upon that person is to pay fidya, and that is to have a sheep slaughtered, just a sheep slaughtered, not to fast 3 days or to feed 6 people, just only to have a sheep slaughtered and distributed to the people of Mecca. That's if a person had done it beyond the miqat, they passed the miqat. If they can go back to the miqat, then they should do that.
Right.
And they assume the ihram from the miqat. But let's say you can't go back, you're on the coach, or you're on the plane, and you can't go back.
Sure.
If you've gone past it, then you assume ihram from where you are, and you have a sheep slaughtered and distributed to the poor of Mecca.
بارك الله فيك شيخنا. Let's take our callers inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Eman.
Welcome, Sam.
You're live at Ask Eman, brother. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
My name is Eman. I'm calling from Bradford.
Hayak Allah, brother. What's your question for us today?
So my question is regarding white wine vinegar or white spirit vinegar, which is the same thing. I know that there's a hadith saying that if it's made artificial, I mean like if you force yourself to make the vinegar, then the vinegar is haram. But if it makes naturally, then it's halal. The problem is here in the West, in the sandwiches, in nearly every sandwich I've looked at, wherever they sell it, they've got white wine vinegar in it. Now, obviously, I know white wine vinegar is halal, but my question is, we do not know how it was created. Like, was it created naturally, or was it, we could never find that out. So what's the take on this? How would we go about it? Because it's in nearly every sandwich that we're selling in the shop.
Inshallah. Okay, we'll get an answer for you. Do you have any other question?
That's it, brother.
Khair, inshallah. Barakallahu feek. طيب شيخنا, what's your opinion in regards to this matter?
Okay, so the view on this, if we're talking specifically concerning sandwiches, now because the type of vinegar that's used is mixed with other products, okay, it's no longer in its original form. It's mixed with other sauces, mixed with the bread and cheese and things like that. It's not a problem for you eating that particular sandwich, okay? It's okay for you to eat the sandwich, inshallah ta'ala. And regarding the vinegar that you find on the shelves, it's okay. It's not a problem in the first place, okay?
طيب.
So, based on this, there's not a problem you choosing the sandwich you like, brother. May Allah bless you for your want to know that, if things are halal for you to consume. It's a very important question. May Allah bless you, but it is allowed for you to consume, inshallah.
Barakallahu feek. Shaykhana, we have a question here again from WhatsApp. It starts with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Why do we as Muslim have to wear a white dress?
There's nowhere in Islam that says you have to wear a white dress. Today's episode doesn't necessarily support that because, mashallah, Brother Mahmoud and myself are wearing somewhat happen to be white. But you certainly don't have to, and it's rare that actually I wear this, to be honest with you. Most of the
I'm
time,
surprised myself.
Yeah, this is one of the few times I actually wear it's not actually white, it's very kind of cream. But, you don't have to wear white. You can wear whatever colour you want. If you're going to wear a thobe, or whatever you call it, kandora or jalabiya or whatever, it can be whatever colour you like, alhamdulillah.
طيب بارك الله فيك شيخنا. This reminds me of a story that I had not long ago in regards to when someone asked similar question. And the wise man, and this is, I've heard it a long time ago, but they said the wise man was answering to this person. They said to them, well, subhanAllah, when we do Umrah, we wear white. When we die, they wrap ourselves with white.
Yeah.
And he said, what is wrong with you wearing white on the most happiest day for you as well? So he was trying to give them an example. There's no colors specifically that we choose. It's either it's been chosen for you or we just do it.
Yeah, well, with regards to, if I can just comment, with regards to white, I mean, it's only, even in ihram, the clothes of ihram, it's only recommended for you to wear white. It's not an obligation for you to wear the white sheets. Okay, if you want to, although in this day and age, it's so, if you know, when a person wants to wear the clothes of ihram, it's almost, you have to go out your way to choose other than white.
Right.
And if you're going out of your way to choose other than white just to be different, then don't do that.
Sure.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be white, by the way. You know, on the day of Eid, with regards to wearing white, you know, it's the Prophet used to love white, best clothes. So you don't have to, but it's just in certain occasions it's good to, better to.
Well, I'm glad that we were white today, Shaykhana, so it's all good for us. Barakallahu feekum for joining us, brothers and sisters, and for watching. Shaykhana, may Allah reward you as always. We benefit from your answers you gave today, inshallah. May Allah reward you as well. So join us tomorrow, inshallah, for more Ask Eman with Ibrahim Atubi, inshallah. For me and Shaykh for now, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.